So looking at this picture, right? Even though our conventional truth tell us that, oh, this one, probably a female, a girl, this one probably a man. But if you actually look at it from the ultimate truth standpoint, doesn't really matter, right? That's the reason why the beauty is but a skin deep. Ever heard of that saying?
Repeat.
A beauty is but a skin deep. Meaning, doesn't matter which one, this one or this one. If I peel all the skin, that lipstick will be gone. Those eyelashes will be gone, right? Then, will they be beautiful anymore?
No.
No. Whoever the actor or actress that you like, visualize it. And peel their skin off. Pull their hairs out. Peel their skin off. What do you see? Just bloody muscles, tendons, bones, and stuff. Would you love it anymore?
No.
No. No, right? So that's the reason why there is a well-known English saying, beauty is but skin deep. Now, the same thing in Buddhism, right? Doesn't matter how your conventional truth tell you. If you actually feel it, the ultimate truth slowly appears, right? So what else? What else do you notice? Miranda, describe this picture.
I noticed that like some parts of like whatever it is are like bigger than other parts. For example, like the mouth and the hands and the ears. But like in comparison to the rest of the body, those parts are larger.
Very good, very good. Now, tell me why you think this picture is designed this way. Do you think there's a reason, or is someone just kind of out of the blue and I'm going to make some weird picture and did it? Or do you think it's not a reason why?
I think it's a demonstration of what body parts we use like the most. Like for example, our hands, we use them every day and like a lot. And our mouths, we use them to talk and eat and chew. And our ears, we use them to like hear. But like in comparison to the rest of our body, like for example, our torso, we don't really use our torso as much as we use our hands.
Very good, very good. So she described it very well, right? Everybody noticed that. Now, this picture is not a weird guy just drawing something. The drawer intentionally drew this, right? So because we talk too much, that's why our mouth is big. We use our hands quite a lot, right? We eat, we talk, our lips big. We listen quite a lot, music, gossip, bad words, right? So that's, you're just only looking at it from the conventional standpoint. Now, I would like one of you to volunteer and look at it from the Buddhist standpoint and tell me what you think. What does it describe? Where?
If you look at the image and if you see what it describes, so we already talked about the conventional truth and ultimate truth stuff. So other than that, what it describes is most likely the six senses.
Very good. Six senses, right? Look at it. Look at it. So let's start six senses. What do we start in six senses?
Sight.
sight or your vision, your eyes. So look at this picture. Your eyes are big, just like you're watching a very interesting game or a movie. Oh my God. Right? So now that's the one of the six senses. Now, next one. Macy. What's the other six sense organs? The ears, right? So ears, the nose, the mouth, right? So what else?
Hands.
The hands. So that includes the touch, right? So six senses are the eyes, the ears, the nose, right? The tongue or the lips, right? And the touch. And what else? The mind, right? So now, so far, this picture is describing the six senses, right? What else? Well, we're going to pause here a little bit before we discuss more. I want to show you a few more, and I want you to critique. All right. What do you think of this picture? So the guy on the left said, "Where do you work out, dude?" And the other guy will answer. What will be the answer? Jackson.
A salon.
Yeti said the salon, so wrong answer. Jackson.
The library.
Okay, Marina.
Fitness station.
What's that?
Fitness station.
Oh, fitness station. Yeah. So the guy on the left said, I work in fitness station. What about the other guy?
The library.
The library,
Oh,
right? So that library is the right answer, right? So that the guy with the big muscles, it's easy, right? Where do you work out, dude? I work out in the fitness center, of course. But the other guy, why do you think the other guy work out in library? Why?
That is huge.
Leonardo.
He's
Maybe because he's smarter, maybe that's why his head is huge.
Right. So look at the size. Right. So what happened is these days, if we are not using our brain, okay, because we're using only part of the other part of the body. So because this guy doesn't go to school, doesn't go to library, doesn't read books. So what he does is he just specializes in lifting weight, doing bodybuilding. So he has all these muscles, huge. But look at his head, his brain, right? Giant body and midget brain. But look at this person. Well, body is like a stick, but look at the head, right? Huge. Well, I'm not saying either is good, right? We want you to be balanced. We want you to do some physical exercise. We want you to learn, go to school, go to library, read books, right? So, yeah. So where do you work out? At the library, right? I don't want you to be this guy. I don't want you to be this guy either. I want you to be balanced. But if I ask you to pick one, which one would you pick? Sophia Tom.
I think if you wanted us to pick probably like the library one.
Of course, right? So we are called human being because, not because we are muscular and strong, but because we have bigger brain, right? If not, we're just a creature or an animal, right? So if you are to pick one, you would just pick the one with the bigger brain. Right, Marina? So, but what you really want is you want to be balanced. You want to be physically healthy, and you want to have a strong brain, right? So let me go back. Now, if you actually look at our evolution, when you were born, when you just came out of your mommy's womb, which part of your body is the biggest?
Your face.
Head.
Your head. Good job. Your head is the biggest. But what happened after?
Your body is the biggest.
It shrinked.
No, your brain doesn't shrink. What happened?
You become fat.
Your body become bigger. What does it tell you?
You eat too much.
Yeah, you're eating, you're using your body more than your brain.
You ate too much from your mom.
So when you were born, your brain is the biggest. Your head is the biggest one. Okay. Yes, there are several other reasons too, right? But it's truth that right after you're born, the moment that you came out of your mommy's womb, your brain is the biggest. But the bigger you are, your body is bigger. Your brain doesn't grow much. Okay. So now, these are the 5 aggregates called khandas. Okay. So we have rupa, body or matter. We call it rupak khanda. We have our feeling and experience, just like, oh, that's an ugly, nasty, nauseating picture. That's the Vedana khanda. We have our memory, Sanya khanda. And based on whatever of these, okay, we react. Now, when we say rupa khanda, we focus more so on our 6 senses organs, right? We don't really care too much about other parts of the body which are not giving us the 6 senses. Okay, so when you look at rupa khanda, we're mostly here talking about 6 senses at this point. Okay, your feeling, your experience, okay, your best memory, and your reaction. Based on all these, you form an energy, or your mind, your perception, your conceptualization, and newly formed memory. Okay, so here, the 5 senses without the mind go to here, the body and the matter. Here, all right. Then through this, okay, you get an experience. Now that experience, together with your memory, your past memory, you get some experience. Based on that, you react, right? So many different types. Then you generate the energy and form new memory. Now, this is basically exactly the same thing like computer that I explained to you last week, right? Our computers work the same way, right? So now, how many of you think this is scientific, or this is just Buddhism talking this and that? How many of you think that this is scientific, or I pull up a weird picture from the internet that some weird guy drew this? Raise your hand if you think that this is 100% scientific. I say 100%. Oh, I will say 99%. All right, very few of you. Okay, let's look at it. All right. This is our brain. Okay, this is medicine. Those of you who want to go to medical school, you will notice this is our brain in a different type of section. Okay, we call it surgical section. We cut human brain and this part of the brain. Okay, here. Okay, so we have motor that control our movement. Motor mean movement. We have sensory, meaning our senses. Okay, we call it homunculus. What is homunculus? Homunculus means little man of the brain. In our brain, there's a little man. What does it mean? Each and every part of our body has a representation in our brain. When you look at what part of our brain, what percentage of our brain is occupied by our different parts of the body, you will notice, look. So let's look at the sensory. Now, our sensory, look at our hands alone, take a lot of the space. This much. Okay, look at the lips and our face, this much. Okay, our teeth, our lips. Okay, even though we have big tummy, does it take too much of our brain? Look at intra-abdominal organs. No, almost nothing. Okay, so this, okay, called little man of the brain is real. If you go to medical school, if you learn anatomy, physiology, this is exactly what you will learn in medical school. Okay, so if you look at the sensory homunculus or the sensory little man of the brain, this is what you will see. So most of our brain is occupied mostly by our face, our head, our legs, our hands. Okay, our tongue. So all these 5 senses organ. Right, now let's look at the motor, the movement. Okay, pretty much very similar. Right, so this is a complete science. This is what you see in anatomy and physiology in medical school class, which is exactly the same thing as this one we talked about, right? But this one we're looking at from just outside. And a lot of us will see from the conventional standpoint. Yes, you're following?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, but if I show you this, we're a little deeper, right? We're getting a little closer to the ultimate truth. Well, this ultimate truth, not really. Because remember, when we see ultimate truth as a Buddhist class, we're focusing towards liberation. But at least you understand better why these 5 aggregates, 5 khandhas are very important, right? It is very scientific. So those of you who initially thought, oh, this is a weird picture, now you will appreciate, oh, whoever did this picture has a lot of meaning behind it, right? It is scientific, right? It is so realistic. It is closer to ultimate truth. It is so Buddhist. Okay, so don't look at it from the weird standpoint anymore for now. Look at it from the educational standpoint. This makes sense, right? Any question, Marina?
I accidentally raised my hand.
Okay, no problem. So since this is a class for young students like you guys, one thing that I didn't want to show are these private parts, right? These
Oh,
sex,
so you did blur them out.
So-
I was right.
sexual organs, right? So, but again, look at it from the medical standpoint. Okay, you will notice that the sexual organs here take a lot, certain amounts of our parts also here. Okay, our genitalia, right? Now, what does it tell you is that we as human beings are attached to 6 senses, right? Now, including these nasty sex-oriented things, which is not good. Okay, so this, the homunculus in our brain, or the little man of the brain, tell us about these 6 senses. All right, so this is the sensory portion, this is the motor portion. All right. Any question on this? How many of you have seen this picture before?
No,
No,
no one.
no one. Okay. Miranda, you have seen it? Tell us a little more about it. You did that in your anatomy science Olympiad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not like the exact picture, but like something like that looks similar.
Okay. All right. So those of you who are going to be in science Olympiad for your school, this is one of the common questions in your neuroanatomy. So if you're competing in neurology system, novice system, and you will need to know this. Okay. So who do you see?
Yoda,
Yoda. Why is Yoda designed this way?
to make it look cute for everyone so they will adore him, but in reality he's an alien.
Okay, what else? What is noticeable about Yoda? Andrew.
He's meditating.
Wrinkles.
Okay, Thomas.
He's meditating.
Okay, so there are several things here, right? Yoda, by size, is he big or small?
He's smaller than baby.
Small. But look at his body size and his head size, which is bigger.
His ears are bigger.
Okay, very good. Ears are big. Why? Yoda is considered the one of the smartest, best teacher, right? But what does he do? He listens, right? The problem with a lot of us, what do we want to do?
Do first, listen after.
We talk, we argue, right? Do we listen? George, what do we normally do? Do we listen or do we argue?
Sometimes we listen, sometimes we argue.
But most of the time, what do we do?
Argue.
We usually argue quite a lot, right? All right, so when you look at Yoda, who is considered to be the smartest, you will notice that his whole body size is tiny compared to his brain and his ears. What does it tell you is he listens. So if you want to be smart, what do you need to do? Listen, right? Listen and listen and listen. That's why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Meaning, you're going to listen twice more, right? So listen to your teachers, your friends, your parents, your brother, your sister, rather than arguing and talking, right? That's why we have only 1 mouth, but 2 ears, right? So look at it. He has big ears, big eyes, right? Big mouth, right? Small body. So what do you think? Even though you might think that this ureter and this is different, but they're pretty much the same, right? But your perception is, if you see this one, your perception is ugh, weird, right? But your perception when you see ureter is, oh, cute, right? So, but they're pretty much the same. Okay. Now, from the Sanctuary Fox film, pretty much the same thing here. This guy, an alien, right? So, big eyes, big brains, little mouth, small mouth, big hands. All right, belly, no body. Okay, Tamitan, go ahead, me.
Where's its ears?
Oh, so because it's an aliens and probably he doesn't listen, or they don't have. No, I took this picture from the Century Fox Film Corporation. So probably they have different way of listening. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what I want you to get is the 5 senses, okay, are very important as part of our Rupat Khanda, right? Our matter aggregates, the body aggregates. Now, because we talk about the brain, right? What exactly is important in our brain? Is it a skull? Andrew?
The hippocampus.
The hippocampus, okay. What is the smallest part of our brain? Or if you break it down, remember in Buddhism, you're gonna break it down to the smallest level, right? You're gonna break it down to the Kalapas level and even break it down even further, right? If you see a human body, you have to see 32 body parts. Each and every body parts, you have to see the cells, the muscles, right? Then you have to see the nucleus, right? You have to see the DNA. You have to see the electrons and protons and neutrons, all those things. Now, if you break down our brain, what is the smallest functioning unit of the brain? Sophia Tom. Oh, who want to answer? Go ahead. I'm picking Sophia Tom because she is going to go to medical school. So, Michelle. What is the smallest unit of the nervous system? No. Dendrite, a little closer. William?
The nanodendron.
Marina?
What is the question again?
The smallest functioning unit of nervous system.
I
Neuron.
would say like a nerve cells, the cells in the nerves.
Okay. So the smallest unit of our nervous system, which includes our brain and the spinal cords and the nerve, is the neurons. Okay. So the more neurons you have, the smarter you are. Okay. So this is, if you break down your brain to the smallest level, the smallest functioning unit is a neuron or a nerve cell. So this is what you will see. Okay, a nerve cell, a nucleus in the middle, the nerve cell body, and the dendrites here, dendrites. Okay, and these nerve sheath going down. If you cut this, this is what you will see. Now, if you're interested, you can look at the number of neurons in different animals. Very interesting. You will see a very interesting fact. Okay, here I show you a few. So for example, let's look at gorilla. Some of the gorilla are bigger than human. Okay, but they have 9.1 billion neurons. How many neurons do we have? 16.3 billion. Okay, now you might think if the animal has bigger body, like elephant, will have more neuron than humans. Not really. Look at the African bush elephant. They have only 5.59 billion, whereas we have 16.3 billion. Now that's the reason why we're smarter than the animals. What I want you to do as a homework is there are a few animals who has more neuron than human beings. Any one of you know? Okay, that's your homework. I want you to look it up. If you type in the Google, the number of neurons of different species or different animals or different creatures, you'll find that list. And there's a long list. And I want you to find which animals have higher neuron count than human beings. Oh, wow. Okay, so don't tell me yet, that's your homework. So now, our brain, if we look at it from the Kanda standpoint, which Kanda belongs to our brain? Sarah. Vedana Kanda, okay. Kai.
Yes.
Which Kanda belongs to our brain? Vijnana Kanda?
Vijnana. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So our brain is considered what? Look at here. What do you think?
Sanya.
Sanya. All right. So Sanya, past memory. Okay. But newly formed memory also in our brain. So brain will have component of the Sanya and Vijnana. Now, by the way, all these are all related, okay? You can't say, oh, brain alone will do this. No, each and every single part of our body will have all of this. But what I'm talking about is that majority, okay? The brain majority will have the Sanya and the Vijnana. Okay? So let's go back to this. Now, those of you who felt weird when you first saw this picture, now ask yourself again. If your perception changed, raise your hand. Okay. So a lot of you, your perception changed. Okay. Now it could be partly because now you understand more, right? Also, it could be partly because the brain tricks you. Sometimes our brain is designed in such a way that when you get used to seeing one thing for several hours, several days, your brain becomes used to it and you don't feel weird anymore. okay? Or sometimes it is just your intellectual knowledge. So ask yourself, why did I change my mindset? Why did I change my perception? Is that because I'm becoming more intellectual? Or is it because I'm just seeing this for a few hours now, from last week to today? Is that why? All right. What I want you to become is I want you to become the second one, which is, okay, I understand this better from the medical standpoint, from Buddhist standpoint. Okay. So the reason why is we go round and round in samsara because of these six senses organs. We learned about that way before also, right? And 12 links of dependent origination. Now, the same thing, this confirmed that, right? With science, with anatomy, that these ears and the nose and the eyes and the lips and the tongues and the hands and the sexual organs make us to be attached to our earthly things. These make us not to be liberated. These makes us to get into trouble. Right? Now, that's why here, when we say Rupa Khanda is more focused, yes, it is our whole body or any matter, but it's focused towards these 5 or 6 senses organs. Right? Now, let's talk about 6 senses. So here you have 5. So what's the 6th organ?
Brain.
The brain or the mind. Now you mentioned brain. Now, why do you think the brain is the one that control our mind? Brian?
Because like it's like the most important thing in our mind.
Okay, all right. So everybody agree, or anyone has any other comment?
Because it's on the top.
Because it is on the top? Okay. So this is a little advanced. I want you to pay a lot of attention, okay? Now, according to Buddhism, the brain is not the center of the mind. The brain does this memory storage. It does do that, okay? But our mind or our mind sense organ is not the brain. What do you think?
The hypo, it's a pit.
Zach?
The neurons maybe?
Neurons? No. We answered hypothalamus. No.
Pituitary gland. Pituitary gland.
No. It's not the brain.
Thinking.
Thinking?
Spinal cord.
Spinal cord? No, it's not even the part of the nervous system. So, Don, to me?
Heart.
Heart. Very good. Good job to me. So, pay attention, okay? So, the mind door or our mind depends on the heart. Now, is it scientific? So the Western science tell us that it is our brain that think, okay, that feels, right? Buddhism said no. Buddhism said it is heart. Now, I don't want you to be confused. Okay, I want you to pay a lot of attention. Buddhism does not say it is the heart that we notice, the heart that you see. It is a small area of the heart, okay, where the blood flow goes in and come out. Now, we're not talking about the blood coming out of the chambers, right? Some of you already learned about the anatomy of the heart. The heart has 4 chambers. Blood, the venous blood's going in, right? Then from the right side, okay, pump to the lungs, get it clean and come back to the left side. We're not talking about that blood, okay? We're talking about a small area of the heart where fluids come in and come out and get electrolytes shift and change and produce an energy. Okay, now that area, Buddha call it, is the mind door. So let's look at it from our science standpoint. How many of you believe that our mind is mostly controlled by the brain? Raise your hand, don't be shy. Good, a lot of us. That's true. Okay. But is there a proof? How can you prove that the mind is mainly because of the brain? Okay. So normally, a lot of people, especially Westerners, especially those of you who know anatomy and physiology, even doctors like myself, think that, oh, this is our brain. Our mind door is the brain, not the heart. Buddha is wrong. Right? Yeah, Buddha is great. But, you know, that part, I know, I don't believe so. Right? So how many of you believe that if I say the mind door is the heart, how many of you think that, you know what? No, I don't believe that. Raise your hand.
The mind door is the heart.
Or part of the heart. Good. So yeah, it is unbelievable, right? How could that be? Oh, the heart is just a pump. Since we were little at school, we learned that our heart is just a pump. It just pumps the blood. That's it. It doesn't do anything else, right? It pumps the old blood to the lungs, get it clean, come back to the left side, and it pump out to the whole part of the body, including the brain. What does the heart do? It's a pump. Right? So let's look a little bit. So I'm sure a lot of you already know what this is, right? This is an
Heart rate monitor.
what is this?
Heart rate monitor.
Heart rate monitor, the EKG or ECG. It basically traces the electrical wave from your heart. Right? Now, what does it tell you is that our heart is emitting electrical energy. Right? That's how we measure it from the surface of the body. Right? Now, does our brain emit electrical energy? Yes. Right? Which one do you think, or which one should be stronger? The heart or the brain?
Should or brain?
Should.
Should.
The brain should be higher. right? But in reality, what is higher?
The heart.
The electrical impulses from the heart is way, way higher. Okay, more than 500 times. Our brain does not emit that much of electricity. Okay, now, not only that, if you actually look at our heart, especially if you look at the nerve supply going to the heart, okay, what we thought before was that the brain control our heart, okay? There's a big nerve called vagus nerve. Vagus. What number is vagus nerve, Miranda?
The Scott, wait.
How many cranial nerves are there, William? Raise your hand. How many of you do Science Olympiad?
I do it, but I don't like it.
Not many of you?
They're probably not. They probably don't have. Some.
Okay. How many of you learn anatomy?
But,
Yes, we know.
Okay.
Please, woo.
yeah, you raised your hand.
Sophia Ton, how many cranial nerves are there?
12.
Okay, you did answer it. 12 cranial nerves.
I'm right?
Yes. So Sophia Ton, what number out of number 1 to 12? What number is a vagus nerve?
Sorry, I didn't learn this yet.
You didn't learn that
Is
yet.
it 6 or 8?
It's 10.
Okay.
It's 10, Yeti.
Sorry.
Okay. So, all right, Miranda, go ahead.
She was just raising his hand for
Okay.
Is it the trigeminal? Wait.
No, trigeminal nerve is here to the face.
Yo, smart.
Okay. So good though. It's one of the nerve, but its trigeminal is to the face. So when you look at the vagus nerve, it's a huge big nerve coming from the brain to the heart. Now, what we thought was that vagus nerve is coming from the brain to control the heart. But later we found out that that's actually is not true. It's the opposite. The majority is vagus nerve is the heart is sending the information to the brain. So by looking at that, let me show you the picture of the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve coming from the brain here, okay, is a huge one. Okay, come down. And this is our big, huge aorta and go below that into the heart. So the vagus nerve, even though it supplies the heart and a lot of internal organs, even though we initially thought that is the brain controlling these, actually it's the opposite, because nerve actually is an afternerve. What I mean by that is it actually carries the information from different part of the body and send it to the brain. Actually, it is more from the heart. Okay, so whenever, even though we talk about Buddhism, but even in English literature, whenever you feel sorry, whenever you feel sad, whenever you feel happy, do you describe the heart or the brain? I'm not talking about Buddhism or Asian philosophy, right? So if mentally, if all the Westerners think that brain is the key, if I love a girl, instead of I saying I heart you, what should I do? I should be drawing I brain you, right? Haha, right? Why don't we say I brain I, the picture of the brain, and the you? Why do we say even all over the world? It doesn't matter which country you live in, whether you're educated or uneducated or scientific or not. We use the heart. Why is that? Andrew?
Because the brain is harder to draw.
The brain is harder to draw? Not really, actually. Because even though science does not want to admit, but all over the world, doesn't matter which part of the world you live in, whether it's the Western or the Eastern or on the equator or on the North Pole, South Pole, doesn't matter. You actually use the heart. Now, our ancestor, they knew it, but they didn't know how to explain it. Right? Now, if you actually are interested, there's a website called Brett, let me show you that website. So there is an organization called Heart Math Institute. Okay, very, very interesting. Now, who do you think founded this institute? Doctor from Burma or Asian country or China, or what do you think this institute was founded?
Africa.
Nope. Andrew.
England?
England? No. From here. Okay, from Stanford. Now you might think that, oh, these guys, these doctors and scientists in the United States will focus on the brain. Well, they did. They couldn't. So they actually look at it and they found that the heart actually is the one controlling the brain. Now, these guys are not Buddhist. Okay, these are white dude researchers in this country, right? They are focusing on the brain so much, but they still couldn't figure it out. But what they could figure out was that actually it was a heart sending a lot of information to the brain. Brain is a relay center. brain is a storage. It's just like our computer memory. Okay, so that's why. Now, this website is very interesting. If you actually look at it, they have trainings, they have a lot of research about the heart. They have been doing 31 years. Okay, they look at the heart and they look at how the heart is essential for the stress management and sustainable behavior change. Now, all along, probably till today, you thought that, you know, if they're talking about craziness, stress, fun, they probably focus on the brain. Actually not. They're saying that you're going to focus on the heart. So what I want to prove you is that it is not me trying to prove you that Buddhism is right. This website is nothing related to Buddhism. Okay, this is the medical institute doing research for 31 years and finding that the heart actually is the one. Very interested. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm not going to go over it in detail, but those of you who are really interested in brain, science, our mind, you should read what they found. They have a lot of research papers. They actually even have training. Okay, I took some training through this institution. So this institution, I didn't know about this institution before. So this institution came to my hospital and they were talking about stress management. And one of the lecture was about your heart. And they talk about how heart is superior to our brain, how heart is sending messages to our brain. So that kind of make me realize, you know, Buddhism is right. So in life, sometimes you look for things to prove your belief, to prove your religion. Sometimes it just so happened that, oh my goodness. So for me, I was like you, right? I'm a doctor. I came to this country. So you know what? Buddhism, they're talking about heart. No, heart is just a bump. It's our brain. Our mind is our brain, right? So when I was your age, yeah, I listened to all these monks, and when the monks would talk about, oh, Buddha said our mind, you know, based on the brain. Sorry, heart. I said, nah. Yeah, I still pay respect to Buddha and the monks, but that, no, I don't buy it. You know, I'm a medical student. I go to medical school. I'm going to be a doctor. Our mind is our brain, right? So I'm sure you probably felt the same way before, right? Raise your hand if you felt the same way like that, like I did. Or you totally accepted, no, the heart is the one for the mind. No, right? A lot of us thought that brain is the one controlling. So I was just like you when I was in medical school, because in Burma, you hear this all the time. Oh, our mind sense, the mind door is our heart. And every time I hear that, no, that's the brain. Buddha's wrong. Well, I didn't say that openly, but in my mind, my back of my mind, no, it's the brain. No, not heart. Heart is just a pump, right? Till I got here, in fact, several years I got after the United States, I become a doctor and stuff. And only after I ran into this institution, how all along I was doubting Buddha. Shame on me, right? So what I want you to do is, if you have extra time, go to this website, read about their research papers, very interesting. Okay. Now, if you read this website, you will understand what exactly Buddha said. Okay. Buddha did not say that the heart itself was the mind door. Buddha specifically mentioned about a location, right? About which area. You will find out after you read this website and their research and their papers. Okay, very, very interesting. Let me go back. So that's the reason why, if you look at it, our brain is just memory storage, like Sanya, or a relay center, because all the information, okay, is received. Say, for example, if I close my eyes, if I touch a pencil, okay, you can see, okay, if I touch a pencil, if my eyes are closed, okay, my fingers, if I never have seen or touched a pencil ever before, all I will be thinking is, okay, this is somewhat rounded, okay, a little long. Now, that information, that sensation, the nerve carry it to the brain. Now, that information will compare with whatever the memory that our brain had before. Okay. If you have never seen the pencil before, someone told you, hey, it's called pencil, you remember it. Next time, you don't have to go through that process anymore. The moment that you see that or you feel that, you know, oh, that's pencil. Okay. The first time you have this feeling, okay, there's nothing in your past memory about this, right? But you found the new memory here. Okay. If you never experience any type of smell of food, the very first time, let's say the very first time you were given durian, right? Ugh. You don't know what that is, but you know that it's bad smell, you don't like it. Or maybe the other way around, you like it, right? Let's say, for example, look at Coco and Sophia Tong. Sophia Tong might not like the durian. She might hate it. For Coco, it may be delicacy. Wow, there's durian. I want to eat it, the whole thing. Right, Coco?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're cousins, right? They should have somewhat similar, but they're quite different, right? One's born here and brought up here. Durian is a nasty thing, right? Coco was born in Burma. Durian is a delicacy, right? It's the same information, right? The same nose, meaning the receptors, okay, go to the brain. But based on your past memory, your brain interprets whether it's good or bad. So for Coco, it's a great food. I like it. And his mouth started watering. Right? For Sophia Tong, she will close her nose and run away. Okay? Now, whether your mouth is watering or you're running away, that's your sankhara. Right? So your smell organ, your smell receptor in your nose, okay? Outside smell come in, touch your nose. Your smell receptor, now that's your rupa khanda, right? Then once you get that smell, your past memory kind of compare it. Okay, what is this smell? Oh, it's a good one. It's a bad one. It's durian. It's chicken. It's chocolate. It's ngapi, whatever, right? Okay. Now the initial experience, all you know is just a smell. But with your past memory, your sanya khanda, then you say, oh, that's good. Oh, that's bad. That's horrible. That's nasty. Then you react. That's your sanya khanda. Then you form a type of energy. That energy could be a newly formed energy that can actually carry the line as a past memory here. Now this go into cycle and cycle and cycle. Now, your computer works the same way. Our mind, our body, our life works the same way. So whether you're talking about understanding your body or understanding how the computer works or understanding about samsara, to be liberated, is the same thing. Because based on these, we are all attached to things. We react, right? Once you understand, oh, it's just a smell. Okay, you will not have any aversion. You will not have any attachment. That's how we as a Buddhist practice. No attachment, right? Now, these aggregates are khanda, okay? Whether that be rupa khanda, vedana khanda, sanya khanda, sankhara khanda, vijnana khanda. Those are the ones that can make us attached to our life, our samsara. So in 12 links of dependent origination, what is clinging? William, what is clinging?
It is Awasia.
No, Awasia is delusion,
Oh.
right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, let's recite. Okay, Kevin, go ahead.
Tana.
Tana, okay. Tana, what is upadan? So the clinging is upadana, right? You can't let go, right? My chocolate, no, I can't share it with you, right? That's my doing, I can't share it with you, right? That's my toy, I can't share it. That's my boyfriend, no, you can't look at my boyfriend, right? My girlfriend, no, hey, don't mess with my girlfriend. You cling to those. That is the upadan. Now, all these khanda are called upadana khanda. Now, you get a smell, you're not attached to it, or you don't have any aversion. Smell is a smell. Doesn't matter, right? Then you don't have to worry about it. But when you are attached to that smell, or you have aversion to that smell, now the problems start, right? The same thing, all the six senses. Oh, that's a cute boy, right? I want to own him. Oh, beautiful girl, I want to own her. That's a problem, right? So a boy or a human body, that's two body parts. You don't have any clinging, then you have no problem. So all these five, aggregates become problem if you cling to those, if you're attached to those, right? That's where 12 links of dependent origination told you, right? Vaisya Pisya Sankhara, Sankhara Pisya Vinyana, Vinyana Pisya Nama Rupan, Nama Rupa Pisya Salayadana, Salayana Pisya Pasa, Pasa Pisya Vedana, right? Vedana Pisya Dana. Now you will have Vedana because we have our sixth sense organ, right? You will have Rupa Khanda. Because of that, we have Vedana, we have experience and feeling, right? If we can stop that, we're okay. But our past memory tell you, oh, this is bad, this is good, right? Then we react. That's where the problem is, right? Vedana Pisya Tanna. Now, Tanna already late, right? You are already attached. But it's more problem, you're clinging to it, you can't let it go, right? That's Upadana. Now, these are called Upadana Khanda, right? Aggregates are called Khanda, right? I have shown you that before, called Khanda, right? Now, if it is just regular aggregates, okay, these are just aggregates. You're fine, you're great. But if they become clinging Khanda or clinging aggregate, or we call it Upadana Khanda, that's a problem. It will make you to go rounds and rounds in 12 links of dependent origination and samsara. Okay, so understanding these 5 aggregates or Khanda, understanding together with 12 links of dependent origination, understanding the 2-level truth. Okay, whether you look at it from the scientific point of view, from this, the little man of the brain homunculus, or you're looking at it from the Buddhist standpoint, hey, you know what? There is no such thing as man or woman or male or female. These are all made of clappers. Okay. Then you will be closer to your ultimate truth. Now, I don't expect you to be becoming a saint tomorrow or arahant tomorrow, but I do expect you to be looking at from the ultimate standpoint, right? Whether you look at it from the scientific standpoint, hey, you know, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a scientist. I'm interested in brain. If I cut someone's brain and look at it under the microscope, this is what I will see. Okay. And because we like smell, we like taste, we like to hear music, we like to hear beautiful voice of my girlfriend or boyfriend, it's all because of the way that we're built. Now, if you just understand this much, now you're getting closer to your ultimate truth, right? Before you become a monk or nun or liberated or saint, whatever, if you just understand this, one benefit is that you will be able to answer your biology question at school. Yeah. If you're in science Olympiad, and if you're taking anatomy and physiology, you will understand better. Yeah. Right? Now, that's the reason why you going to school is number 1, for fun. Number 2, to get closer to the ultimate truth. Okay. So I'm going to pause here today. I hope you understood and understand better about the 6th sense organ and looking at the 12 the ultimate truth and the conventional truth and 2-level truth.